Nothing the screen has ever shown before can surpass the thrills of
the Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
Created from an atomic fireball hurled from outer space,
The Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
Threatens man's very existence on Earth.
The Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
Battles Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan for mastery of the world. Men quake before the terror of their unleashed fury. All new, all never to be forgotten. A new high in
Visions from Monsterland. Hello everyone, welcome to Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, the only podcast that is the equivalent to Destroya fighting Gigan in a missile silo in Antarctica. It's never happened, but it should. Anyway, my name is Jerry. Joining me as always is 10 out of 10 Derek.
Hey man, I just got back from dancing to some shitty J-pop music, you know?
I only danced to Dur and Grey. That's the only music out of Japan to me. Or maybe Maximum Hormone. I'll take them also. Speaking of hormones, Mr. Venom, how you doing?
Damn good. How you doing, Mr. Herring?
I can't complain. Well, I can, but that's not why people listen to this podcast. Speaking of listening to podcasts, Don, the man, how you doing?
Screonk and Happy New Year, everyone.
That is
Happy New
right.
Year too, man.
It is 2019, and we are back after taking December off due to me just needing to take some time off for health reasons and diet reasons and other stupid shit that Godzilla would never have to worry about. You never hear Godzilla waking up going, oh, I can't eat that fucking donut because of diabetes and my blood sugar. You never hear him do that. You want to know why? Because he doesn't give a fuck. He has fucking self-regenerating
he'll just melt down
things.
on your ass. He'll just melt down on your ass.
Exactly.
Yeah, he just has some crazy heartburn, you know?
Yeah. So today we have a non-Godzilla kaiju movie. This one picked by Derek, so everyone can blame Derek. We are doing Death Kappa from 2010. The Kappa in Japanese folklore are water goblins that are closely associated with a certain town in the country. Unfortunately, the area is also home to a militant splinter group of researchers dedicated to developing amphibious super soldiers based on the Kappa of legends. When their experiments result in murder by some escapees, what? That hasn't. The fuck are you talking? Okay, sure. The appearance. It wasn't Men in Black that did. Okay, it was okay. The appearance of actual Kappa and the triggering of an atomic bomb. The consequences are of epic proportions. I literally just figured out something while reading that it was one of my questions, and now I've got it. This movie is directed by Tomo '0 Haraguchi.
Yeah, they pronounce that Tomo.
Do they? Well, they don't need the extra.
No, you do. You just add an extra O sound on it.
Yeah,
it's
Tomo.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the Skype's making me sound lame, but it's Tomo.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, well, fair enough. This dude's pretty big. He has worked in the kaiju before this. He was part of the creature creator team for Gamera Guardian of the Universe and Gamera 2 Attack of Legion. He also has directed a few things of note. Ultraman Ginga. Is that how you pronounce that? Ginga?
Ginga, yeah.
Okay. Theater Spectral Ultra Monster Hero Battle Royale. That is just great. Yeah. So, who gives a shit about this guy anyway? He's alright. I don't really have that big of a problem with him. The movie's featuring a bunch of people, but the only one that really matters is Hideki Anno, in my opinion. And if you think otherwise, well, go fuck yourself. I take that back. The chick who does the voice actors for the American dub, because I watched the American dub, She does the voice of Ophelia in Octopath Traveler. So when I first started listening to this, I was like, I know this fucking voice. And then I figured it out.
Yeah. Another thing, the connection to Ultraman, too. The lady who plays the grandmother is Fuji.
That's Fuji from the original Ultraman?
Yeah.
I'd still bang. Still bang Grandma Fuji. I'd take that. So we're gonna do it a little bit different this time, guys. Because I need a slight walkthrough of this movie, because this is a weird fucking movie. Derek, you earlier said this is the Naked Gun of kaiju films, and you should be stoned to death for insulting Naked Gun like that. It is not at the parody level of Naked Gun. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not at the parody level of Scary Movie. I think I found like only a couple of actual parodies in this. Where is it? Okay. So, hitting the Kappa statue and then the people hitting the Kappa statue dying, that's a reference to GMK. These kids, well, not kids, I don't know, they're a biker gang or something. They destroy some statues and we're going to kill a dog, and Mothra straight up murks them. When they had the reporter get burned alive, that is a reference to the original Gojira when the reporter in the tower gets just straight up demolished. You've got the volleyball battle, which is a reference to Godzilla versus the sea monster. I will give it credit that its tagline is 100% a parody tagline, which is King Kong is dead, Godzilla is retired, a new monster is in town. With that being said, Death Kappa, when I say I want my movie in English dub, I want my movie in English dub. Don't make the white guy narrator still talking Japanese. Okay? Fuck you. I had to actually go and check and make sure I actually turned the subtitles on and didn't fuck up.
Yeah, that's part of the spoof, though, because they made the fucking everyone else sound shitty English, and they decided, why not make because we always complain about white guys in these kaiju movies anyways, how they sound shitty anyways. So like, let's just keep the fucking only white guy in this movie sound in a shitty Japanese dub. But
how does that work in the Japanese dub? If you're watching the Japanese dub, everything's just in Japanese. It would only work in that way if in the Japanese dub they made him talk in English.
I guess, but
no, but the Japanese are also aware though of our kind of laughing at their dubbing. So I think the fact that they put him because the dubbing was even terrible.
But he's the best dub in the even if they, his Japanese dub is not good, it's not bad, it's just mediocre. It's not outlandish or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm just saying this because Media Blasters actually made this movie, so they were in on the joke, and everyone that was on the dubcast was also in on it, too.
Well,
they knew it was a spoof.
It's the first failing joke for me of many. Okay, so now it is in the English dub, and we find out this girl, Hanako, is a failed J-pop idol, and she is going home to go meet her grandmother, but unfortunately we've got a bunch of teens who do not give a shit driving around recklessly in a bug, and they commit the worst car hit and run ever on her grandmother, and they literally get out and they leave, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Do you want I Know What You Did Last Summer and a bunch of shitty sequels? Because this is exactly how you get I Know What You Did Last Summer and a bunch of shitty sequels.
Very true.
True.
Yep.
Okay. Then we get the white American dude talking to us in Japanese again. He's just basically telling us what a kappa is. It's a fucking mythical creature from Japanese lore that's a mix between a frog and a turtle, and it has a plate on its head. Though when I was growing up, when I read about the kappa, I remember it saying it had a bowl on its head filled with water, and it would die if it ever spilled out all the water. But I didn't bother to go check and see if that was actual lore and they changed it for the movie with the plate or what, because how do you fight a giant monster when your bowl head is filled with water that you can't let come out? Especially when he blows fire. He can literally just evaporate all of it.
Yeah, just put saran wrap on the bowl. With a really, really big piece of saran wrap.
That is true. I guess he could get a Tupperware lid.
There you go.
I'd fight like a kaiju with a Tupperware head. Then we go and I can't remember what happens first. If she finds the Kappa, well, it jumps between Kanako leaving out cucumbers and finding the Kappa, and these teenagers at the beach getting murdered. Now, during the when I was telling the overview of the movie, at first I was like, what are they talking about? Escapees kill these kids? Because I was like, no, the agents in black and white killed them so they can kidnap the girls. But I guess apparently it wasn't the guys in the black suits. It was the amphibian, reptilian, fishy fish that killed them.
You thought that one of the men in black dismembered that kid?
Yes, 100%.
Wow.
Hey.
I thought it was
so
one of the fish guys.
I thought so on the first one, but by the time you start seeing like limbs being splattered out of the car, it's like, oh wait, fish monster.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'm
what I
just
thought.
saying I've seen enough Japanese gore flicks to know that they would 100% have someone dismembering someone like that and then be perfectly
Right,
human.
and that's why I thought so at the first time, but then the second time, okay, you start seeing limbs fly out, it's like, oh wait, fish monster.
Yeah, plus they did show the fish guy coming out of the ocean too before that happened.
Yeah, I just thought that was the Kappa coming on land because they showed the Kappa in water earlier. I thought that was misdirection to make you think the Kappa killed them, but it was actually the agents who were killing them so they could kidnap the girls.
Honestly, I never thought that though.
Didn't they show the Kappa throwing around that dummy that was supposed to be one of the kids?
No, because that wasn't the Kappa. They want you to think it's the Kappa, but then they show the Kappa is clearly with the girl and not with on the beach killing them. And so apparently the people in all black, these fish monster in all black, the humanoids from the deep, they are the ones killing everyone, but you can't see them. They look like those stupid costumes that people wear in Halloween that just covers your whole body and is just one color.
Right.
It looks like they're wearing that, and that's why I thought it was just the FBI agents, or not FBI agents. They look like FBI agents.
Nazi
the agents,
Japs.
yeah. Oh, which I'll get into some of the shit they say.
Another thing I wanted to bring up before we get past this scene is that when our American/Japanese narrator tells us about the Kappa, he tells us that they're mischievous creatures, not malicious, and that they're somewhat playful. He even calls them amicable. Yet this one fish monster, just destroys these two guys. So it's like, my question is, did he know that those kids killed his previous guardian, or is he just, you're human, I don't like you.
A Kappa did not kill those kids. The fish monsters killed those kids, but that fish monster has no relationship to the actual Kappa. Like, it doesn't have Kappa DNA or anything like that. It's just they created monster Nazi fish monsters. They were inspired by the Kappa.
Oh, okay.
And they were looking to try to, I guess, catch a Kappa so they could experiment on it also.
Right, to try to use the Kappa's amicable qualities to try to make them controllable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to revisit this question later on because there's a part B to this question, but it's got to do with later during the fight.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to it.
All right, fair enough. So we also get a good look at the Kappa, which I'm not a huge fan of the suit. It looks too much like a mask. Like, there's no movement in the eyes, there's no movement in the mouth. You have that a problem with a lot of early kaiju movies, but by the 80s and 90s, we had figured out how to make the eyeballs move, and I just don't know why they couldn't do it in this movie.
Because they didn't want to, because they wanted to pay tribute to the movies of early days. That's why they did all that.
I like when they paid tribute to Jason Voorhees' pants in Part 4 by getting to the kaiju's, the Kappa's legs and just being like, nah, fuck it, just make them wear pants.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with you. It looks shitty and shit, but it was for a reason. This is a movie that has a lot of mixed reactions with the kaiju fan base in general. So I understand that, Jerry, too. So I'm not saying you're wrong at anything that you're saying either.
Yeah, I think once I realized that this movie was a flat out parody, I started accepting the comedy a little bit more. Like for the first, I don't know, half hour, I was actually on board thinking that they were taking themselves seriously, even through, the fish monster attack there on the beach and, some of the really terrible dialogue. I was still kind of on board for this thing being serious. It wasn't until, I'll let you know at what point I started to realize that this was a straight up parody. But like I said, once the movie was over and I looked back at that first half hour, I enjoyed it a lot more thinking about it, realizing what this movie was and how self-aware it was. I mean, I don't think these guys remotely were trying to make a serious movie.
Oh, I don't think they were trying to be serious. I just don't think they made a good parody movie.
Yeah.
Some of the parody maybe fell flat, but I also think you might have missed some because
there's a difference between making a parody and just making a shitty movie and then just saying, well, it's a parody.
Hold on, Venom, what were you saying that I missed something because of what?
I was saying that during your list of the 3 items that you found as parody, there were some other obvious ones that I was kind of surprised you didn't bring up. For example, the strings on the jets and, all the flying vehicles in this movie with the very obvious strings. I mean, that's obviously parody to early kaiju movies where, they couldn't keep the string off the camera. And also early sci-fi, like 50s and 60s American sci-fi, same thing. Ed Wood movies, with the obvious string. To me, that's an obvious parody because they didn't even make an attempt to hide it. You're
right, because there's another obvious parody when they do the hand puppet mask face battle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They just it didn't hit well with me because I was just like, you could have done a parody while keeping your special effects good and parodied actual events in the movies that you're trying to pay tribute to. Instead, you're just like, hey, we're going to have this obviously fake toy burn, kind of like how they had like obvious fake dummy people burn on stage and stuff. It just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. Like, I understand that Japanese budgets are not very big for movies. I do completely understand that. Some of their miniature work is very good.
But some of it is obviously very terrible too. I mean, everything was action figures. All the people were action figures, which I found hysterical.
Yeah, I just didn't. If you're going to do your parody, if you're going to put something just straight up in my face like the action figure burning, I don't know if there's a good way to do that.
I mean, I put this movie on a par with I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but I think it's called The Lost Skeleton of Kalabara, something like that.
Yes.
That black and white movie. See, that movie, I put it on a par with Death Kappa because it's not quite at the level of a Naked Gun or a Scary Movie where the parody is very, very obvious. But I think if you look really, really deep, there's some parody there, and there's also some decent comedy. Like I said, once I accepted that this movie was a parody, I thought the comedy started hitting a little bit more at that point.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board with what you're saying, Jerry. I am 100% in agreement that this movie is nothing like some of those, legendary parody movies like A Naked Gun and, stuff like that. But it's still, I give it its credit because that's what they're obviously attempting to do. They didn't attempt to make Gojira. They attempted to make, A Naked Gun, and they failed a little bit here and there.
Yeah, they attempted to make Yongari. We got it.
Yes, exactly. I'm totally on board with you there.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you, because it's the whole aspect of, they have shitty masks. They're not hiding even some of the fucking tank and fucking machine looks like the Gorgon Death Ray. When you look close at it, it looks like a fucking flashlight with a fucking orange peeler attached to it. It's just fucking. It's shitty effects, but that's what it's like. This movie is like a over the top 70s kaiju movie. You know what I mean?
But
even like the whole.
But there's one big difference though. most of the movies that it's parodying are actually good, well-made movies, and the effects in this one here just point out that they just made a shitty movie and called it a parody.
But, yes, the aspect of that too. I can't argue with you with that.
But the point, I think the point is that they intended to make a shitty movie, and they succeeded. You know what I mean? I don't think that there was any seriousness whatsoever when they were like the pre-production for this movie. You know what I mean? Okay. Yes, this movie is not great. I will fully, admit that. But the point is, what is their intention?
Okay,
their intention was comedy.
I did some research on what the director wanted with this movie. He wanted to pay tribute. He wanted to make a movie that would re-kickstart the Kaiju boom. And that's the reason why I won't sit here and accept they knew they were making a shitty movie. No, they knew they were making a low-budget movie. And yes, did they lean into a lot of cheap things in hopes that we will just overlook it as parody and go, haha? 100%. But I don't think they were trying to make a shitty movie, and I don't think they believe that they were making a shitty movie. And it's a parody, and parodies will always fall on both sides. Some people are going to enjoy it as a parody, some people are not. And this is definitely a movie, obviously, that is very decisive between us. And I'm sure as we go on, we'll find more things that we can complain about. But let's go into the Carmen Sandiego trying to steal a Kappa.
Exactly what I thought too.
Yeah. So they try to steal a Kappa. They're not successful, but they steal Komoko, which I'm really glad she used a bow and arrow, because I know this. The American voice actress for her is also the American voice actress for Sailor Mars and Sailor Moon for a lot of different series, like Crystal and R and S. And Sailor Mars uses a bow and arrow. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but that made me laugh. So anyway, they don't get the Kappa, but they kidnap Kanako. God, for someone who wants to do a podcast about Japanese movies, I really suck at pronouncing their names. Why did I make this decision? Okay. We now learn what's going on in this movie. Crazy Nazi Carmen Sandiego bondage version informs us that her grandfather, back in World War II, was working on creating fishmen by experimenting on humans, and the top brass of the government shut her down. Now, for Japanese people, they don't know their history very well. The top Japanese military officials would not have shut her down, and if you don't believe me, do some research on Unit 731 and Unit 100, as they did lethal experiments on humans, resulting in the deaths of thousands. And fun fact, the U.S. gave those doctors immunity in exchange to learn what they had learned about biological and chemical warfare on human experiments. Thousands of Chinese, Korean, Russian, and some Americans, and actually kind of surprisingly, a few Japanese people died in horrible fucking ways. It is like, if you think, like, yes, what the Germans did in World War II was fucking horrible, the Japanese were not slacking on their war crimes. They walked through China committing so much rape and torture. Generals had games to find out who could kill the most people between towns. So they also were very big into taking in sex slaves. Japan was very much buddy-buddy with Nazi Germany on many things. They admired each other, which is weird for Germany, who thought if you weren't white and blue-eyed and blonde hair that you should die. That they got along with the fucking Japanese very well. So, one, bullshit lady, your grandfather was a fucking war hero even to the Americans. But she tells us that they're going to make these fish creatures kind of based off the Kappa, but they look more like humanoids from the deep. They look like the fucking a horror version of the fish mask worn in Godzilla vs. Hedorah during the dance scene.
Yeah.
So Komoko, who is in the loosest cuffs possible, you can clearly see she could slide her hands out of those. Because these cuffs were not meant to like hold a person. This is just what Carmen Sandiego would put Ano in when she whipped him and called him Shinji.
It's so awesome that he's a Nazi in this.
Yeah, speaking of which, Hideki Anno is here and he's got a goddamn whip and he will make Shinji get into the robot.
That's him?
Yeah, the guy with the
He
whip.
was the reporter.
No, the reporter is what's his fucking name? The other guy.
Shinji
Hagaguchi.
Yeah.
Him. No, yeah. And he's the guy who directed the Godzilla 90s trilogy and
I haven't seen any recent photos of Anno, so I thought Anno was the guy that was...
Anno was the Nazi with the whip that didn't really talk.
Okay.
That got shot a bunch of times and they just wanted to show you him getting shot a lot.
Okay. Yeah, no, I thought Anno was the reporter that was set on fire.
No, Anno, and if you don't know Anno, he directed Shin Godzilla. He is the creative mind behind Neon Genesis Evangelion and holds the record for the person suffering from depression the most who does not kill himself. And if you don't understand that joke, you have not watched Neon Genesis Evangelion. So also, was that dude that actually like did the talking? Was that the mutant hero from Final Wars? I didn't look into it, but he looked just like him.
It might have been.
I did not look.
Give me 3 seconds, I can find out.
All right, that's how long I last in bed. I make her call me Titanosaurus when I come.
Oh, you know what's fucking... Before we get backtrack, you know how much clearance they had to use all those samples in the beginning of this movie with like the fucking like monster roars and shit?
Oh yeah. Someone sucked someone at Toho's dick.
Because you can hear like Titanosaurus and like Anguirus and fucking...
Yeah.
Everybody.
Toho was already looking at him weird because the monster that shows up later, they're like, why does that look like Titanosaurus except fucking hippie painted him? Which apparently his paint scheme is from another kaiju that was in in America it's called Orochi, the eight-headed monster. I have not seen that movie. I hear it's really good, but I have not watched it, so not 100% sure. I would kind of hang out with all these scientists making the fish monster because the sex at that place is probably fucking great. Like, that's probably Charles Manson cult sex worthy.
That's like Club Vondersex sex.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's only one chick though, man. She's got to get abused.
Oh, fucking, she's all of... I would smash that pixelated vagina.
She's all in the necrophiliac too and shit.
I don't care. We'll watch Necromantic while she blows me.
Oh yeah, what do you call it? Paternal necrophilia. Oh God, what the hell is that? That actually made me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
I'm from Alabama, so it's kind of normal for me.
I mean, I'm down with keeping it in the family, but once the family's dead, walk away.
No, because once you're done, you can take a piece of the cheek off and eat it like beef jerky.
Oh, damn it.
Don, have you found out the answer to this yet? I don't know how long I can go destroying my whole mentality here.
That's not him.
Okay. Well, fuck it. It looked like him. I'm going to call it
so too,
a parody and say it's a parody because it looks like him. So anyway, the humanoid from the Deep sequel that we need continues. As they explain to that they're doing a holy war or some shit like that. Anno is a really great actor. His smile looks believable, and I know he probably had to get a lot of training to do that. and the face he makes when he's getting shot multiple times is probably the same face he makes when he comes. So shit goes downhill. Kappa shows up, sumo wrestles the fuck out of all the FBI agents and the Fishman, and Dominatrix Carmen Sandiego starts shooting up everybody and everything. And so she decides that she's going to blow everything up because she has a nuclear weapon that will blow up all of Japan.
Okay, this is my main issue with this movie. Like,
you have an issue.
My major issue with it, because from this point on, it's another movie. It feels like they made two fucking movies and decided to split them together. And what this movie needed is a little description of what the fuck happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is the point where you have Mr. Exposition come in and explain what happens.
Exactly. This is I can shut my brain off for a lot of things, Jerry, but it's like, okay, point one, I need A, B, C, and they miss B,
Well, I don't have an answer to this, but I'll make up one for you. So originally, this movie was actually going to be a Humanoids from the Deep sequel, and it was going to be the Fishman raping all the Japanese women, and the Kappa was going to show up, played by Ron Jeremy, and he was going to fuck Japan back to freedom from the slavery of the fish monsters. They lost funding from the pharmaceutical company that was paying them because they didn't realize there was Fishman rape, and they didn't want to pay the extra money that they were going to have to pay for all the pixelating they were going to have to do in editing. So they were like, build a fucking monster. Just make the Kappa big, build another monster that you have, and shoot one big fight scene. That's all you got to do. And the director's like, but how do we explain how any of that happened? Just fucking just blow everything up. It's the American way. So they did. Unfortunately, you're not supposed to tell us that you have a bomb that will blow up all of Japan for it to not only not blow up all of Japan, but to take 3 fishmen, combine them together into one monster, make the Kappa super big and now able to shoot Godzilla atomic breath, and somehow save the main girl who is completely unharmed and finds her way on the top of a fucking building.
Which also makes no sense in how there's 3 fishmen into one giant monster, but yet the Kappa grows large.
I'm going to assume that the Kappa actually killed 2 of the fishmen and only 1 fishman survived. But I've got nothing to back that up. I only stuck with all 3 of them coming together so I could drop a Dorat reference.
Yeah, I'll allow it. I'm fine with that.
Now that we've got done with all the wacky Japanese movie that became standard affair through the 90s and 2000s, now that we got the Takashi Miike out of our systems, let's get to the Kaiju movie. So now we have, and I know this is different than how we normally do, but I couldn't do this the normal way. Not with this fucking movie. You can watch this movie on YouTube. Just go fucking watch and you'll understand what I'm saying. Okay. So a new monster shows up, and his name is like Hangulus. It sounds like what they called Anguirus in the fire monster version of Godzilla Raids Again.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that's part of the joke. That's one of the jokes.
Is it racist when the Japanese people make fun of the fact that they mix R's and L's all the time? Is it racist if they're the ones making the joke? Or is it like me talking about putting mayonnaise on everything?
It's probably on a par with that, yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure, because I didn't know if I could talk about it being racist or not. But
they probably
racist.
make wasabi jokes too.
Okay, fair enough.
Not racist if it's cultural appropriation.
No, that is racist. That is cultural appropriation is racism. That is like man. What? Okay, hold on. This is not Facebook post by me and Venom right now. Okay. So, I just want to point out that the dude that hides under a potted plant branches was the first joke in this movie that really, really made me laugh. That was good. More people should do that during a kaiju attack. Okay, so, all the people are like they're running in front of a drive-in movie screen. I want to point that out.
Yeah, the green screen's awful.
It's not even a green screen. They literally just put up they went to a drive-in movie theater and borrowed that screen, which just sucks because I was supposed to watch The Monster Squad that night and I couldn't. I had to watch fucking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which, why are you playing that? It's January. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. There was a disconnect. This new monster is related from Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street because he never shuts his fucking mouth. I had to get that in.
Oh, God.
Okay. Anyway, there's a huge disconnect in the movie between the bomb and the kaiju attacking the city. How does the kaiju get here? Did he walk from that cave on the beach to the city? I don't know. Anyone else know?
No.
I'm not even sure this is the same city.
Me either. I kind of assumed it was Tokyo, just because, I don't know.
It has to be.
So, there's a few ongoing jokes before the Kappa shows up. There's a bunch of army men who try to shoot him, but they don't shoot him. I didn't think that was that funny.
I'll admit I chuckled at the first one, but then by the third one, it's like the same joke, really?
They reuse a lot of jokes. Like, they keep showing this, fighter pilot who's wearing makeup. I don't know if he's supposed to be.
What the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? The first time I seen this
I was like, what is Raleigh from Suicide Club doing here? Who invited
I thought it
him
was just
here?
a kabuki actor that just got out of work and went right to his jet.
No, he looked way too transsexual to be a kabuki actor. Like, and they do another transsexual joke. They show a scene where, like, there's a family hiding under a tent watching the news, and just randomly there's an old guy in a schoolgirl outfit and a pink wig. No
was
explanation.
Was that supposed to be a guy, though?
That was 100% a dude.
Okay. I understand that the actor is a man, but I mean the character. Was the character supposed to be? I thought it was a man playing a woman.
In your movie, if you make a man dress up as a woman, and you don't pick like a very feminine gay man who can pull it off, like Jared Leto, then you're trying to make a joke on transsexual. Is what you're doing. I'm assuming that's what you're trying to do, and I've watched enough weird Japanese movies to know they love doing the guy in women's clothing who obviously looks like a guy joke. They love it.
Yeah, even like the dub voice of the fighter pilot, they make him sound gay.
Yeah.
Open fire.
They have no problem
I think it's
doing
a
that in Japan.
Cultural difference, it's like,
well,
it's funny to them maybe, but it's not funny to us. I don't get that.
Apparently,
either.
you haven't seen a lot of Thai movies because that's a fucking.
In Asian culture, I can at least say in Japan, being homosexual, while legal, they still don't have rights like getting married or anything.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people want to go to Japan because they think it's this anime otaku culture. Look into how they run their police. You may change your fucking mind. When you're guilty there, you're fucking guilty fast, and they don't give a shit if the evidence proves it wrong. So anyway, Death Kappa officially shows up out of nowhere. His eyes are red, and the fight is basically, if you've ever seen Kaiju Big Battle, the Kaiju wrestling, that's basically what this is. They literally just watched Kaiju Big Battle and just stole all their shit from them.
Or was it the other way around and they copied off them? Because I thought they started up in like 2012 or 13.
I'm about to find out. Because I love Kaiju Big Battel, and I was pretty sure that they started in the 90s.
And they did kind of briefly mention that Kappa's fighting style is sumo, so I kind of expected the fight to be very wrestling.
It's ironically that all the wires turned into a giant wrestling ring, you know?
Kaiju Big Battel had its first match in 1996.
Damn.
So,
way older than I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was like 2011 or 12.
No, they've been around for a while. I have a fucking Kaiju Big Battel DVD sitting on my shelf. And I want to say it's from like 2006.
Oh, I'm just saying, I first heard of them around like 13 or 14, so I thought there was just like a few years before that.
Oh no, they've been around forever. The problem is they still to this day do not do that good of a job of promoting anything but their live events. They don't do enough video material. They're very much into it being a live performance.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Like, their attitude is basically Vincent Price in Theater of Blood.
Yeah, I've seen some of their stuff. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
We'll have to cover some Kaiju Big Battel at some point because it's really fun.
Sure, man.
So, there at one point, the Kappa, God damn it, it's not that fucking other Kaiju movie. The Kappa pulls out nunchucks, and all I could think of was Michelangelo going, fellow chucker, eh? So let's get into this battle. How, Derek, how did you like this battle, this fight?
I thought it was just pretty fun, you know, especially with like the wrestling ring and shit, and how they use it, and, like the ninja. You know, it's silly, it's goofy, you know, and it goes with like the rest of the fucking movie too. I enjoyed it for what it was. I wasn't like mind-blowingly like a Godzilla epic battle, but it was all right for the tone of the movie. You know what I mean?
All right, Venom, what did you think?
Like I said, you know, since they gave us that little tidbit about his background in sumo wrestling, I totally was expecting it. Leading up to the fight, I was expecting it to be very wrestling, and I wasn't disappointed. It wasn't so much sumo, so much as professional wrestling, but I mean, it's not a great fight. I'm not going to sit here and say that it goes down in, you know, history as a great kaiju battle, not by any stretch, but like Derek said, considering the tone of the movie, considering, you know, what the filmmakers were going for, it works for me. It's not an A+ battle by any stretch, but it works. I would probably give it like a B at best.
Don, what did you think?
I'm right there with Derek. I think, you know, like he says, it's the tone of the film at that point. You know, it's just gone full on bizarre and goofy and silly. And to me, the only thing that really would have made it like, I would have said it was the best thing about this movie if if the costume rips like 1 second and then like 2 seconds later it's back and it's completely fixed.
That would have been a good parody thing they should have done.
That if you would have done that, I would proclaim that like the best part of the movie.
I did like the callback to Ultraman though, like they. Like in a later episode we'll get to, like one of the characters. That's
actually what I was going to say is what I think about their fighting. I think Ultraman. They 100% like very much did a more Ultraman fight with using actual like it didn't feel like a Toho Kaiju fight. It felt like an Ultraman Kaiju fight.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So Death Kappa wins. I don't remember how. And then starts going crazy, destroying the city. Kaneko shows up some fucking how, pours water on top of his head, and all's okay. It fucking ends. Now, there's a song in this that soothes the Kappa's soul. When you look me in the eyes, Venom, and you promise me that you will bleed on the beach next to the seahorses or some shit, I believe it. I wear my panties again that day. Which makes me go, one, why is that in the song? And two, do you not wear your panties most days? Like, I feel like if you didn't wear your panties, you would have been a more successful J-pop idol. maybe more of a AV idol, but who doesn't like a jab video every once in a while?
Mm-hmm.
As long as the song reassures me that tomorrow will be tomorrow, I'm totally on board.
Yeah, I'm real concerned about that. And tell me that things are lucky and things are happy. Tell me about a rainbow, and tell me more about you bleeding on the beach.
You can tell this girl had some issues when she was writing this song.
I love how she had to point out by the seashore, because there's beaches at other places. Yeah,
not a beach on a lake, okay?
Not a river.
A beach at a seashore.
Jesus.
The song is terrible. And who let that grown-ass adult wear fucking... okay, this is a parody that I should have pointed out that I didn't, because I didn't think about it till now, because I was going to make fun of them. But they actually have a grown adult wearing the style of clothing that kids in the 70s in Japan wore. The suspenders and the short shorts and the fucking ugly bowl haircut. I was like, how do you look like a pedophile and his victim at the same time?
Oh, man.
I don't fucking understand. So, okay. With that being said, we went through the movie. Now I'm going to go through and do our normal thing a little bit. Probably a little bit shorter since we've already kind of talked about it. But, Derek, what did you like about this movie?
Like I said, it's a parody in itself with like the aspect of what time period. It feels like a very 70s style, not just Godzilla kaiju film or like, Gamera kaiju. It mixes all 70s kaiju logic. Even like the bizarre like fish fucking story. You can see like maybe some fucking like a maybe toned down version of it in like a normal 70s kaiju movie. You know what I mean? So that aspect, I like that aspect of it. They tried to get the feel of a 70s kaiju film and just amp it up to like 900, you know what I mean?
All right. Venom, what did you like?
I liked that Igor was able to escape from Dr. Frankenstein and get himself a job as a janitor at the train station. I thought that's really progressive thinking of the train management to give Igor a second chance. So yeah, I'm right on board with this movie.
Yeah, I like that they got his friend Scarface a job too. He was there stalking. That was good. That old Japanese guy is all right. He's not that bad of a dude. Don, what did you think? What did you like?
For me, I kind of actually did enjoy the fantasy, the whimsical tone of the first half when it wasn't actually trying to be a parody. I wouldn't have minded like a full-length film where we follow Kanako learning how to be a Kappa guardian and running around with the creature, learning how to care for it and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't have. May not have been that good, but I wouldn't have minded based on what we saw there because I was kind of into it at that point. That's, it's not really parody. It's just, like a light whimsical, fantasy kind of. And yeah, I wouldn't have minded seeing a little more in-depth look at that part of the film.
Yeah, so, but at some point the Kappa's going to walk in on her banging herself with a cucumber and he's going to get real confused.
Right, yeah, that's kind of one of those things where it's some of that you want to see, and then there's that other parts where you're kind of not really sure.
I'd watch it. I don't care what you think of me.
It makes sense, too. Oh, it wasn't my bad. Don, it makes sense, too, because when you think about it, when it's the producers of Tokyo Gore Police and Machine Girl, it could have went that way, too.
It definitely could have. The first half of this movie feels in par with Tokyo Gore Police and Meatball Machine. And that's what I like most about this movie. Fuck the kaiju in this movie. Tell me more about Nazi Fishman. I want to see the fucked up splatter film version of Humanoids from the Deep. And this movie teased me with it, and I want more. Give me more Bondage Carmen Sandiego making Nazi Fishmen. I want that movie, damn it.
I just want Kanako. So I'll take
you can have Kanako. I get Carmen Sandiego.
I'll take Kanako too, since she doesn't wear panties by the seashore.
Yeah, y'all. Then you're always gonna be like, "Hey, babe, and you're gonna give her a kiss, and you're like, God damn it, did you give the Kappa a blowjob again? Listerine, bitch, Listerine. So now let's go around. What did we not like about this film, Derek?
Okay, two major things. One I already stated. It feels like two movies, and it didn't connect well with the aspect of transition to the other movie, like I said. And some of the humor, I do not get it, because it's probably just a cultural thing. Like, like the transgender fighter pilot and some small things like that. But that's about it for me,
Maybe he was just in a visual Kai band.
Maybe. You never know. But, some of the humor falls flat also. Some of it I get, some of it I don't. But, yeah, that's about it.
All right. Mr. Venom, what did you hate about this movie?
I hated that our narrator established the mythology that Kappa are mischievous. They're not malicious. He even flat out called them amicable creatures. Yet as soon as Kappa was done dispatching with Hangulus, he just turns around and just starts destroying the city anyway for no reason.
But that's because his plate was dry.
Bleh.
Yeah, plus I think the radiation also did something to him. I think they actually said that line of dialogue.
It dried his plate.
Wah. Yet the ocean's right there next to you. Nah, let me destroy this city.
We don't know that the ocean's right next to him because they don't tell us how far this city is from the beach cave.
Well, at the end of the movie, they show Kappa walking away, and that's the ocean. So.
I guess I fell asleep during that part. And thanks, Satan, for that. Don, what did you not like about this movie?
The special effects. I don't care if this is a parody. The special effects in here are just outright terrible. I'm going to give Hangulus a pass because I like his design. I think he's kind of cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got a cool design, and I would have liked to have seen more of him. That Oriental Dragon stuff just looks really good on a costume. But the rest of it just looks terrible. And I don't care if it's a parody or not. The original movies were not poorly made. So to make poorly made special effects and say it's a parody, I don't get that. So,
okay. The biggest thing I didn't like about this movie was a parody, and it was supposed to restart the Kaiju era. And you want to know why it didn't? Lack of fan service. You know what? If I'm going to watch a Japanese movie, give me a panty shot. Don't sing about it in a song. Fucking do it. Man up. Show me some panties. This movie could have brought Kaiju into the new world with fucking titties, and it didn't.
An adult-themed Kaiju film?
I would watch an adult-themed Kaiju film. It doesn't have to be adult-themed. Just have a shower scene or randomly let me see up a dress or something. I mean, all I'm saying is that I don't like this movie, and so instead of brutally talking bad about it, I thought I would bring up that it didn't have any fan service.
Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah. Does anyone have anything else they want to say about this movie or the Kaijus or anything like that?
No.
Raise your hand. I can't see you, but raise your hand.
No, like I said before, this movie is very mixed, so I understand if the aspect of if something you guys didn't like or I'm okay with this one because of the way it is. So good talk, guys. Good talk.
Yeah. I paid $5 for this Blu-ray, and it came with a slipcover. So I'm not mad about spending $5. I've spent more than $5 on way worse, like The Witch.
Jesus.
What? Will I ever watch it again? Maybe right before I kill myself. It'll be my suicide note. Hideki Anno would be happy about it. Okay, so with that being said, we are about to get into the Ultraman Report. So today we take on episode 9 of Ultraman, Operation Lightning Speed. This came out on September 11th, 1966. Alright, so overview of this one is when a uranium-eating monster disrupts efforts to rebuild a village after a tropical storm, the Science Patrol intervenes. So we open up with a storm. This is Typhoon 13. And we see that it is affecting a camp where we have a kid named Toshino. I like to call him Tostinos because he's tasty like pizza to the sleepaway camp cook.
Especially with those shorts and those hats they wear.
Oh, dude, that sleepaway camp is just looking around. Around here, we call them baldies. Oh, like the red fedora and the short shorts. Oh, I bet they taste like popcorn.
That impression's way too good for comfort.
I practice it a lot. What I do is I go to elementary schools and I just stand at the fence and I practice it. I don't do that. So it seems like their reserve food disappeared in the storm. So they're going to clean up the storm in their fedoras and short shorts. And I had a joke about what kind of pedo dresses these kids, but I ended up talking about sleepaway camp. So Tostino and another kid end up going to town to try to get some food. Elsewhere in town, there are strange vibrations from under the earth that are pushing repairs of the town back by 2 hours. Woof. And you know how them Japanese are about their time. I don't know if you've ever seen Gamera versus Gauss, but they're about that time. Okay, they will not be pushed back on schedule. So, well, guess what? A monster shows up, and everyone already knows who it is. It's Gabora. He owes me $10. We talk to him all the time. He hangs out with Frank down at the fuck fish market. So if you're asking yourself, hey, why do they all already know who this monster is? I have an answer for you. Initially, Pagos from Ultra Q was set to be the monster of the episode. However, because a new monster was demanded, Gabora was created instead. Many remnants, that is not how you spell that. Anyway, a lot of Pagos traits are recycled into Gabora, such as the monster being radioactive, its hunger for uranium, and that the suit to make Gabora was also used to make Pagos. Obviously, that is Baragon.
And we've already seen him previously as both Naranga and Magular.
Yeah,
yes.
Baragon's kind of a slut.
It's been around.
Or he's just a cheap actor. Give me a booth.
It's actually funny. It's actually funny you say that, Donna, because did you guys ever hear of the sketch show Monster Island Buddies on YouTube?
Is that the one that does toys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Baragon's actually a cheap actor in that show.
Yeah, that's parodied. I think that was originally parodied in. They mention it in this serial I used to read back in the day, like in the late '90s. In G-Fan, there's a serialized storyline in there called the Gamera Autobiography, and they mentioned that Baragon was one of the cheap actors of this kaiju back in the day because for Parasaki he'd lend himself out to Ultraman, and he'd get brutalized on the show for nothing.
Well, based on actual facts. So Gabora kind of looks like one of those skull monsters from Skull Island, except fat.
Yeah.
He looks like Anguirus and the Demigorgon had a baby.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, he's attracted to the uranium mines in Salt Valley. The Science Patrol team informs us. He feeds on radioactive material. So they're going to get ready and go out there, and old Hoshino makes fun of them for taking too long. Well, you know what, Hoshino? They're fucking adults, and they have to make sure that everything's done properly because they have jobs and responsibilities, you lazy bum. That's why your sister's unmarried, because she has to take care of you. I am not projecting at all. So they go to a council city meeting, and this mayor is pissed. Because you know what? You can't stop Gabora with paper. That's 100% true. I mean, I don't know. You could try to give him a paper cut and see how that would work. It hurts really bad on me.
Yeah, I actually got one the other day, and it still kind of irritated me. So, you know.
Yeah. So instead, they use fire to stop him. But while they use fire to keep him from getting to the place with all the radioactive material, they kind of accidentally send him in the way of a boys' camp. So, Arashi's like, you know what? Fuck this. Let me get my strap and let's drive by on this motherfucker. I ain't playing no more motherfucking gangs. Bang, bang, motherfucker. But they're like, yeah, his skin is 5 times tougher than steel, Arashi. Your pea shooter's not going to do shit. So instead, they're going to bring radioactive uranium out and use that as bait. So they get into the helicopter where they find Fuji and Hoshino have snuck aboard. Fuji, your brother's a bad influence on you. You're a member of the Science Patrol. You could have just been like, I'm going along. Okay?
Exactly. You know?
It's not like it's the 70s and they would have told you to get back in the kitchen. Oh, wait. So they pass the 2 kids, Toshina and Takashi, and they're like, yo, we have to figure out a way to get them down. But Gabora's shooting shit at them. But they still, Hayata drops Fuji and Hiroshi off so they can warn the boys. The monster's now opened its petal to reveal the ugliest face I have ever seen. It looks like the body of Baragon has the head of Russian vodka Gamera.
That looks like my ex-girlfriend.
What? Wow, that's fucked up. And Gabora's aim's getting a little bit better now that the pedals are out of his face, and he shoots the helicopter and it crashes. But of course, Hayata is able to escape, grab the beta capsule, and get out of the way just in time to turn into Ultraman, which means let's go to Don for the Ultraman fight breakdown.
Alrighty. Advancing on the flaming helicopter wreckage, Gabora notices Ultraman standing before him and they square off. They begin grappling where Ultraman throws him to the ground, and as Gabora tries to right himself, Ultraman leaps onto his back and tries to right him. Bucking Ultraman off, Gabora throws him into a hillside and attempts to fire his breath, but misses, allowing Ultraman to land a flying kick at the monster, sending it backwards. Rushing in, Ultraman grabs and removes one of the fringes around Gabora's neck. Charging again on the distraction, he removes another neck fringe before finally succeeding with Hoshino's encouragement, which allows the staggering monster to walk into a series of right hands by Ultraman. With the monster staggering still, Ultraman flips him to the ground one more time, and after struggling to right himself, Gabora collapses lifelessly, allowing Ultraman to stand tall.
I almost held in all the laughter, Don, when you said an Ultraman tries to ride him.
I know. I could hear it.
I was okay with it. It kind of turned me off.
I wish it would have gone a little bit longer. Give me a few seconds of that fucking Bronco. Damn.
Yeah, I thought the fight was okay. It was pretty brutal with him ripping off fucking dudes' pedals like that.
Yeah.
Like, damn, homie, did you really need to do that? Okay. So, with that being said, they get all the kids back to their camp safely, and these 2 kids know that Hayata is a lying motherfucker. They know something's up. They're not going to tell, but they know something's up. I just want to point that out. So anyway, that's the end of this episode. So as always, how did you guys like it? Derek?
I liked it. You know, there's just some few clunky things that happened within it. Like, I kind of died laughing when the helicopter when it was landing, hit the fucking uranium. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, it's like, is it going to blow up, you know? Like, fuck. But, you know, it was a fun episode. The fight was cool. It had some brutal parts to it. I think it could have went on maybe a little bit longer, but as the length of these episodes, of course, doesn't hold that. But, you know, I had fun with it for what it was. I think the weakest part was all the kid shit. Unless they were playing, like, the Meatball song. Meatballs. But, yeah, that's about it for me.
All right. Venom.
I enjoyed this episode. You know, I'm a little slow in the head, so this one was nice and easy to follow. I had no problems with any of the human characters this time around. I enjoyed the design on Gabora. I thought the fight was fairly brutal with Ultraman basically circumcising Gamora. That was pretty awesome. For whatever it's worth, I had a lot of fun with this one. Not a favorite by any stretch, but I thought we got just enough Science Patrol, and we got that future Pimps of America club, so that was pretty cool. No one has addressed those hats yet. Come on, those hats were epic.
I mean, we brought up the fedoras like 3 times, but we just said them in a child sexual way.
Maybe I just naturally filter out all the child sex.
Maybe that's probably a good idea.
Like, how much of the camp is fucking charging for those fedoras?
Really, man, it couldn't possibly come with tuition. I did wonder, why did Toshio's hat not have the little yellow rope around it? Did you notice that? He had the same fedora, but it didn't have the yellow rope.
I did not notice that, but I know he was like second in command. He was like he was in charge of the boys. He was the boy in charge of the boys. He was like
pimp. The older guy, he was like the troop leader, but then that guy there, he was kind of like the second in command.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with that.
All right. Don, what did you think?
Yeah, this is another really fun one. It's a pretty straightforward, simple, to the point episode. I do think the fight is a little, like, it just ends abruptly. There's, like, no ray power again. Like, Ultraman doesn't, like, throw the specium ray. So it just it ends, like, a little abruptly. It's like, okay, well, he rips the appendage off and flips them, and then it's like, bam, he's done. So, yeah, it kind of ends abruptly, but I don't have too many other issues with it. I think it's actually kind of cool that we see the Science Patrol actually succeeding in their job. So that way, it's kind of like, well, why do they keep them around if all they do is just get their shit trashed every episode? It's like, they kind of have to have, like a little momentary battle. Like, they actually divert the monster away from the village like they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's kind of fun. And, it's a nice little action scene. You've got, Gamora up against the miniature tanks with the flamethrowers, which, those things are going to be death in the real world if they actually had a flamethrower that's big enough to shoot that big. So it's kind of like, well, why don't they just take over the world with those things?
That's true. Yeah, I like this episode. It was just a quick, fun little romp. It didn't feel slow. It didn't. I at no point was I like annoyed or anything like that. Like, this was just a solid episode. Nothing special to make it stand out, but it gets the job done, and that's what I like in my Ultraman. Though I do feel like if you were watching the series like back to back to back, these kind of if you have too many of these standard kind of episodes, they would really kind of fall. But luckily for us, we get to spread them out.
This is like a perfect, like, 1 or 2 episodes, just kind of like comfort food things. This isn't like a binge episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you want, I would say, if you're into like just having like a comfort food episode, like, you just want to sit back, relax, unwind, not have like a really difficult episode to follow and really like think about, then, this is like one of the better ones. But it can get lost in the shuffle if you're doing like a marathon and you see like, like 4 or 5 of the same thing right after another. Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Now that that's over with, obviously next episode we'll be doing another Godzilla episode. It's time to do another Godzilla movie. No clue what we're doing yet, but I would like to propose something. I would like to do Godzilla 2000 because I am going to meet Tsutomu
Kitagawa.
Him, who plays the Millennium Godzilla, and I'm going to meet Ben
Furuya.
Yeah, who plays Ultraman. So I've got a VHS of Godzilla 2000 I'm going to get signed, and I've got a Ultraman VHS I'm going to get signed, and I'm really excited about this. So if you are going to be at Days of the Dead Atlanta this coming weekend, the 25th? Yeah, 25th through the 27th. Kenneth and I, Kenneth from Kill the Cast, we will be there. Hit me up. This should go out like a few days before the actual event, so maybe you'll hear it beforehand, or you'll hear it afterwards. I don't know. So how do you guys feel about doing Godzilla 2000? Can I force this one on you?
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched that one, so I'll revisit it.
Yeah, twist my arm.
Yeah, fuck 'em, yeah. All right. So,
Well, if we have to.
yeah. I know. I'm so sorry that I make you guys watch kaiju movies and Ultraman episodes. I'm the worst.
Hey, I made you watch Death Kappa, Jerry, so it's just as right that we get to do one of your picks.
That
next.
reminds me. I found out that there are more movies in the Executive Koala series that involve other weird things doing everyday jobs. So, Derek, I forget what they are off the top of my head, but yeah, you need to look into that because it's a thing. They did like 2 other movies. One of them involves something being a soccer player or some shit.
Oh my god, I have to see this.
Yeah, it's
I like
fucking
those weird shit.
Yeah, it's weird. So that's a thing. So before we get out of here, it's now promotion time, where we can quickly go over what we're doing. Once again, we'll make Venom go last because he'll tell us 20 things. Derek, what you got going on?
Hopefully, knock on wood, I jinxed it the last time.
I
Cinema
just
Attack will
punched
go
my
in-
dick for you.
Yeah, Cinema Attack will be going forward. It was just something came up. You know, shit comes in your life and shit. This is just a hobby for all of us. So, you know, I just fucking do it with that aspect. I don't push anybody to do what they don't want to do and they can't do it at that time. So, that being said, it'll be coming next week. We're going to try to record. And also, of course, Underwater Kaiju. Outer Space, Visions from Monsterland, and also, no shout out, I've been guesting on Mr. Venom's other show, No More Room in Hell, lately. So, check out those episodes I've been doing with them. Fun times, especially that Burial Ground episode.
Oh, God.
That was fun.
Yeah, I do understand. If you guys don't know, scheduling is the bane of podcasters' existence. Because you could be all ready to go, and then literally, like, the day before, your special guest drops out, and then the next day, someone loses internet for 3 days, and you can't fucking... There's nothing you can do about it. Literally nothing.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Something happens in the family or something like that. So shit
There's
happens.
nothing you can do. Last weekend, we were supposed to record Horror Coliseum Volume 7, and literally... We record on Sunday night. Saturday morning, everyone was good to go. By Saturday afternoon at like 6 o'clock, the guest had to drop out for emergency, and then we were trying to decide if we were going to go on without him, get a backup really quick. Shout out to Mike Merriman, who couldn't do it because he had to record some stupid fucking podcast with Jerry Cortes. Fuck that guy.
Really?
Yeah. And then it didn't even matter because Kenneth's internet went out and he didn't get it back till Monday. So the point is,
feeling.
Horror Coliseum Volume 7, Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, and A New Nightmare will be recording, I think, like the first weekend of February, and guest replacement has happened, so it will actually be Watson from Horror Corridor joining us instead of Brandon from Exploding Heads because he had some shit he's got to deal with. So much love to him. Make sure he gets all his shit settled. We replaced him with Watson. So I'm excited for that because I fucking love Watson. And
Yes.
I
I
had
see
like
him and JP fighting like a little mini mud pit.
kind of, sorta. I'll be rooting for Watson, but that's because I love Watson. Like the night I called him to ask him to be on the show, we ended up talking for like 2 hours about just all kind of random shit. So anyway, that's gonna happen. Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space will be going back to its once a month scheduling now that it's the new year. And I don't think I have anything else going on at this time. Except for we'll soon be done with Horror Coliseum, Freddy vs. Jason, and we'll get to dive back into some more regular stuff. We'll take a small break from the Horror Coliseum format, and then we'll go back to it in whatever fucking shit we do. With that being said, Don, what have you got going on?
All right. We are finally at the end of our run of 2018 prep shows on my other show, the Horror Mafia. We've gotten everything done and in order, and we are in the process now of recording our Best of 2018 show.
Yeah. You hear that, Horror Mafia? You're the other show. Okay? His heart lies with Kaiju.
I've always said Godzilla means more to me than horror, so.
There you go, bitches. Yeah.
Viva la resistance.
Yeah, so, we're in the process of recording that one. It should be probably we've either recorded it last night or maybe tonight by the time you hear this, because depending on when our schedules align, we'll be able to record that. And then after that, who knows? We'll probably start watching other stuff again because we're done with 2018 prep. So, yeah, that's about all I have there.
Sweet. All right, Venom, go ahead.
All right. Well, the Horrorcast is finally back. Recently,
I
they
think
released...
every time we do this, since it's once a month, you say y'all are finally back.
Well, yeah. Sadly, I mean, we're having the same kind of scheduling issues. Life's been hard for a couple of the hosts on the Horrorcast. So
Well, you know what? When you have a logo that badass, the fucking
Jack-o'-lantern with the guitar.
yeah, the jack-o'-lantern playing guitar with Freddy's glove, which, by the way, would not work. There's no way you're playing a guitar with razor fucking fingers. Not happening. But good logo.
Adamantium guitar strings.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. I totally agree. Awesome logo. I wish I could give a shout out to the artist, but I don't know his name offhand. I'm sure Mark Nato would, so I'll have him do it on the next show. But anyway, like I said, episode 50 Scary Movie Moments just came out last week.
Yeah, y'all just copy and pasted Bravo's 50 Scariest Moments, right?
Oh, hell no.
That's what I would have done. Fuck it. I would have taken the easy way out.
No, this was listener voted, and also the hosts also voted on it, so it was fairly even. We agreed with a lot of it. We didn't agree on some of it. It turned out to be a really fun episode, and it's only one top 50 list, with everybody voting on it, so it's not like it's not an epic 6-hour episode like Exploding Heads, so don't worry about that one. Okay. Which I absolutely loved, by the way, but that's not the story. And then for our next episode of the Horrorcast, we're going to be discussing Halloween 2018 and The Exorcist 3. That should be a fun little conversation. Not sure if we have a guest lined up yet, but
how did you get to that combination?
Those were Mark Nato's choices, so you'd have to speak to him about it.
Mark Nato, what drugs are you on? Like what?
Really?
Like who was sitting around just going? I'd really like to talk about fucking Exorcist 3 and Halloween 2018. That seems really good. I'm just gonna eat this mushroom real quick.
Your impression is terrible, but
the Jimi Hendrix starts playing.
I didn't want to do an actual voice of him just because I wanted it to be clear that I'm joking. He does not actually do drugs. Please don't check his basement. No. There's no bodies down there. Nothing like that. Okay? There are bodies down there. Anyway, so what else are you doing?
Let's see. One of my other podcasts, Beneath the Zenith, is going to be back this month in January. We should be getting together with all the co-hosts, and not sure what we're discussing quite yet, but hopefully the episode will be out end of January, beginning of February. We're going to go with the once a month schedule on that one too. So
it's
hopefully
a good way to
on
go.
That.
Plus, with a show like that, with how much research you have to put into it.
Yeah, exactly.
It really does.
Every 2 weeks just doesn't make sense.
I've been deep diving into a lot of conspiracy theories and cover-ups, bouncing from everything from government related to aliens related to Dilatov Pass kind of stuff, fucking reptilians and fucking all kind of skinwalkers and shit. And I can tell you, man, if I was doing shit like that, it would have to be once a month just because I would need so much time to properly do research, because you scratch the top, just the surface of one thing, and then you figure out 5 hours later why the show was called Beneath the Zenith.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So anyway, yeah, thank you for that, by the way. But yeah, hopefully Beneath the Zenith will be back sooner than later. Theme Warriors, next episode of Theme Warriors that I do with Mike Merriman and a couple of other guys. That should be, we're recording in the next week. The theme for that episode is redemption stories. So we figured new year, let's see what kind of redemption stories we can talk
You're
about.
going to do Gamera the Brave.
Not even remotely, but good call.
One of the only 2 Gamera movies I've never seen.
Nice. Oh,
I've never seen it either, actually.
Yeah.
Nope.
interesting. Let's see. Back to my list. We've got No More Room in Hell, which I do with
He has
Mike
a
Merriman.
fucking list.
Yeah, exactly. I have to have a list, and I actually am reading off a list because I will forget 1 or 2 of these if it's not written down in front of me. And then we have our sister podcast, which is of course No More Room in Hell presents Fresh Cuts, where we only discuss brand new films that have been released, in the last week or two. Our latest episode, we're going to be obviously discussing Glass, which came out this past Friday. We're going to record that tomorrow night, and that should be an
Did he just die?
division between the horror community on this one. Did who just die?
You said, we're recording this Friday, and then it went out completely.
It did.
Oh, did it? No, I didn't notice. I'm not playing with my mic.
Uh-huh.
No, it's like your internet died on you.
Yeah, I think your internet died out. Because if Derek and Don heard it also,
That's weird.
then it's your own damn fault, Venom.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm just glad it wasn't me this time.
Same here.
That's weird because nothing changed over here. I was staring at my screen. Nothing changed. My mic didn't flash.
It'll be all right.
It's
a great-
It's Skype.
Yeah, it's a great thing about the way I record. I don't have to worry about it because my voice will always come through because I'm directly recording. Haha. All right, so you're going to be doing Glass. Is that the end of your list?
And then Rad Radio with Mark Nato back on the scene. Rad Radio should be back sooner than later, but there's nothing planned yet, so look out on the horizon for that one.
All right. I think I'm most excited for Beneath the Zenith to come back.
Yeah,
Because I'm super deep into that shit right now. I need something a little lighter. I recently started digging through fucking not only the Japanese war crime shit, but I was looking through the Franklin cover up and MK Ultra, and
Yes.
this world's fucked up.
Yes, sir.
I was looking into real life shit, and it's fucking awful. Everything is just awful. Why can't we just watch Bigfoot eat a Subway sandwich and everything be okay? Doesn't happen that way. I will say this.
Movies, man.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hear about.
I can't wait for Beneath the Zenith to come back. I really want a guest spot on Beneath the Zenith. I don't know what topic for, but that's just my kind of jam. So
Cool.
I will fucking explain all of you how the reptilians are using the Illuminati to restart the New World Order to take us all over because the fucking plebeians and the fucking Greys, and I'm talking about the real Greys, not the small Greys that invade us, because they're not even real fucking aliens. They're fucking cyborgs that the actual Greys made, and they're trying to fucking make hybrids with us because they figured out they're cyborgs. And they're trying to fucking be real now. So they're coming down here. They're putting implants in us to figure out our biology and our chemistry so that they can eventually figure out how to turn their cyborg bodies impregnate us, which is why they had to anally probe us. They got the wrong fucking hole. It happens, okay? You're perfect the first time you lost your virginity either, so don't judge them. And where was I going? Reptilians are taking over.
Oh man, dude, you dropped your foil cap. Put that back on your head. Holy shit.
It's a foil pirate hat, okay?
Oh, very sorry.
Cause I got it at the Atlantis gift shop because I've been to Atlantis. You have to go through a black wormhole that's covered in yellow electric mist in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, where did it all go wrong?
I had to watch Death
narrated by
Kappa.
James R.
That's
Jones.
how it went all wrong. Anyway, we love you. Thank you for joining us. These have been our visions from Monsterland. We are out. We will see you next time as we look at what Toho did to bring back Godzilla in the year 1999, because the year 1998 was so fucking bad that they had to burn everything down and turn his fucking spinal fins purple.
Yes.
Yeah. So we love you. Keep destroying all those monsters, and we will see you next time on Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space.